Good afternoon, everyone. This is Logan Jaws with Storm Deceptor.com on the Giles Scale Advisory number one on Tropical Storm Beta, which is in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, overall, the Atlantic Basin continues to be extremely active with 23 named storms, which could be 24 if that wave coming off Africa can form. Also, we're watching if the remnants of Paulette will reform, and if that's named, it will be subtropical storm Paulette or subtropical cyclone. It depends how you say it. But our main concern right now is, of course, Veda in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, key messages from the National. Like I said, it's pretty simple. This is a fairly slow-moving storm. As you will see later on, the forecast counters looks a lot different. It is very slow, which will cause rainfall to happen mainly along the coast of Texas and Louisiana. Fortunately, the bulk of the rain will be offshore, but parts of Texas between Port Mansfield and Houston and into Louisiana will get some flooding, most likely from Beta. Now, these areas were just hit from Hurricanes Hannah and Laura, so those areas are still damaged. So storm surge will be more prevalent in those areas that were hit by those two hurricanes, of course, Hannah and Laura. Now, winds should most likely arrive sometime tomorrow evening, but everyone should be involved in those winds between Louisiana and Texas. Now, here's the wind field of Tropical Storm Veda. It's a little bit displaced from the center due to some wind shear on the storm right now, but once that shear relaxes, the wind field should become a bit more symmetrical and should become a hurricane by tomorrow night. So again, that's why you have those tropical storm warnings that far north, because of that wind field is going to expand and remain pretty well north. Now, in terms of storm surge, what we talked about is mainly the 1 to 4 foot range. Probably a lot more between Port Mansfield and Cameron. Again, those areas were hit by Hurricane Hannah and Hurricane Laura, so those areas will see flooding a bit more because those areas are still damaged. And even towards areas that were hit by Hurricane Sally, like Mississippi and parts of eastern Louisiana. So those areas are still at risk of some surge. Now, going to the Giles scale, I have added a Category 1 rainfall risk between Corpus Christi and Vermilion Bay. Of course, those highest values will be most likely on the coastline, but for the inland towards Houston and points around that, you could exceed 5 inches. Better chance closer to the coast, which is where the center of circulation is. Now, rainfall is definitely the biggest threat from this. You can see up to 8 inches on the coast, while maybe 5 to 6 inland. So with storm surge, which is of course also a threat, I've added a Category 1 risk for Port Mansfield to Vermilion Bay. Again, those areas are still vulnerable after Hannah and Laura struck the region, so it will be life-threatening storm surge above 3 feet in some areas. Now, in terms of wind, which is not expected to be the biggest threat, although with a slow system, you have that issue. So, areas that are under that wind risk, they are under a hurricane warning, although I am favoring more towards south of Houston area for that. So, that's just that pretty quick update today, and here's the overall picture again. Category 1 risk. Now, you may say, it's only a Cat 1. Well, the storm surge in some areas will be life-threatening because anything over 3 feet can float cars. So mainly Port Mansfield to Cameron, Louisiana. So Those areas could have some issues with storm surge, and rainfall will cause flash flooding. So if you encounter a flooded road, it's best to turn around and not get yourself caught in a situation. I'm going to have the next advisory tomorrow evening, unless something changes, which will cause me to upgrade. I don't see it happening, but we will see. I see you all tomorrow evening.